then it's little. This is what happened today, certainly 5% of the but also B, if these all men can be wrong with the things the parent shape beyond the quality of the other things that form letter about adjustments. But I'm curious about how often that will be part of.
Might break there. Michael and Sinead, I'll come to you next. They're a chunky enough set of questions. We might deal with those in turn. Alan.
Yeah, maybe just Mark, taking that question about the admissibility. I think Alan Doyle's observation around the tight time frame and the expedited procedure under HC 126, the practice direction, has a lot of validity. Set against that, though, the board were able to produce an affidavit within 17 days of the judgment issuing. They probably had that amount of time within the pleadings. In fact, sorry, I don't mean to be coy. They had that amount of time in the pleadings to respond. And again, I agree with Alan when he says that the approach was unattractive to Judge Humphreys, because they argued, well, none of this information was before us as decision maker. That's patently not the case, because what we were talking about were decisions by the board itself. So they were matters of public record. In fact, Brian Kevill went through the board's files in order to compile his affidavit. So I think that was particularly important in terms of allowing, or maybe allowing the judge to make a determination on the admissibility question without a huge amount of debate, actually, on the 20th of December.
You want to take a track this question?
Yeah, but you might need to summarize it for me because it's late in the day.
We take Mina Clockspar first, and the extent to which there's criticism of our permitting system not taking into account impacts of particular kinds of turbine noise on human health. And if we are to take shovel-ready projects and rush them through, how do we feel about that?
We have a problem that we have too many houses in the countryside. I came down here from Dublin. I live in a suburb, not that bad. The neighbours are okay. I think we definitely need renewable energy. We need it in the right places. If that means we need to use CPO powers to get the right lands, then I think that's what we have to be prepared to do. I know that's going to be unpopular, and I know it didn't work well in relation to the Carlton site in O'Connell Street when it was tried 20 years ago. One would hope that the result could be better now, and that we wouldn't end up with Michael McDowell's preferred approach of ramming the whole thing through in legislation authorizing specific wind farms, because you can't do that under European law. You still have to have the EIA. So we would definitely run into the sand anyway.
But we might raise some of the other queries after we close, because I know we're under pressure for closing remarks, but with two more questions with hands up, and I'll come back to another from you, Attracta. Michael, if you want to come next, and then to you, Sinead, please.
And feeding into that, I think the owner and the judge are a lot closer than we might believe. The owner had a problem because with energy guidelines that the politicians have been sitting on there for years. And the judge has a problem because there was two conflicting sets of legislation coming together with the issue. So if that development plan, which the elected members actually voted on, if the development plan was properly constituted, maybe the owner would never have this problem.
I come to you on that. Sinead, can you add your question in?
If you add more energy, not actually, and you know, the reference is made locally, from state to renewable. But electrically also follows that, oh, then we need more gas, and you just expand gas, supply. And then you have an argument that, well, we gas is take up the extra gas that we use that trying to renewable energy is not being used. So it's sort of a circular argument, and I think we really need to have an honest discussion of, well, what does transformation mean? And does it actually mean less? Does it actually mean less infrastructure projects? And the International Energy Agency has always said no more fossil fuel projects from 2018. They were granting heavily fossil fuel using infrastructure. And at the same time, also saying that then we need to override democratic deliberation and also do more renewable energy. It's just, it can't be both. One decision has to be made at some point. And I also want to know, well, where does that idea coming that people are being offended? You know, it's a bit of colonial kind of self-colonial idea there that all those departments are again was and you know, that's a bit unfair as well. And it also brings to mind the question of, so if this is not going to an honest place, well, where is the place to have that honest discussion? Where is the discussion being had of what transformation requires and who's not there?
Fiona, can I come to you first? Material contravention. Why do we still have it?
No development plan can ever foresee every single thing that might arise in terms of planning applications. You have things that simply weren't considered, and in those instances where a development is proposed where it is clearly excluded, there may be perfectly good sound planning reasons looked at from first principles that it's actually fine, and that it may have been excluded for one reason that doesn't apply in this particular instance. It allows a level of flexibility. The development plan is a relatively crude instrument, and it will not foresee every circumstance. So, for example, you know, you could get something that wants to go into a business, an area designated for business or an area designated for industry, and it doesn't neatly fit into that category, or it perhaps doesn't at all. And yet, when you look at the particular proposal, there's no reason that it couldn't go into that particular area, that in terms of its characteristics, it fits business or it fits industry, even if the name is different. So you have to look at every individual case. Material contravention allows you the flexibility. I'll give you another example. The areas designated for wind or not for wind, you know, they're very crudely drawn. Those don't neatly translate to precise divisions either side of the line on the map in the fields. So you might see a situation where you have 3 turbines that all look like they're in a very much similar position, very similar landscape, similar distance to houses, no proximity of Natura 2000 sites, and yet one of them is inside the development permitted area and 2 are outside, and it just doesn't necessarily make sense. So the board will look at the precise individual circumstances. The reason the power was given to the board was that it was intended not to be lightly used and to be thoroughly interrogated when it is used. And so the problem was with the strategic housing development, when the board were forced into a certain position in terms of materially contravening development plans, and that undid everything. That's the reason in 2022 that the board started running, kicking and screaming away from material contravention. That's what's landed us into this difficulty. It was it's a power that's very much circumscribed at local authority level. The board were trusted to use it, and the board did use it for a very long time. And strategic housing division legislation led to such distrust, such challenges to the board. They lost their mojo effectively. So if used correctly, you know, if going back, those powers, the strategic housing division powers are gone now. And if used correctly, there is no reason that it doesn't and shouldn't have a place in planning, but to be exercised very sparingly.
And then to close out on the queries from Sinead around conspicuous consumption efficiency first. In fact, the more asynchronous penetration we have, the more the gas guys can say we're consistent with the climate change too. Otherwise, we end up like Spain and Portugal. Either Alan, do you want to take the mic? Mr. Roberts, to close the session.
I think the speaker makes some excellent points. Energy efficiency is clearly going to be a cornerstone of squaring the circle, and I understand the difficulties that you put your finger on, but some line has to be drawn in the sand at some point in time, and the policies that are there now are built on some calculation as to what level of energy is needed to meet demand, etc. Those targets might be wrong, probably will be wrong by some degree, but we have to put the line in the sand somewhere. So I think absolutely demand management is crucial part of that as well. I wouldn't take from that at all.
So thank you very much to Fiona O'Regan, BL, Alan Doyle, BL, and Alan Roberts, solicitor, for an excellent discussion of programs.
Thank you very much, folks. I really won't take very long, but I was just sitting there thinking we started at 10 to 9 this morning, and at 6:15 this evening, not alone are people still talking, but still serious, engaged discussion going on serious issues. You know, if you want true grit, look to the Irish environmental governance community. You know, I mean, really as tough as they come, and the room is pretty full. I just want to make three housekeeping points. The first is that I know it's frustrating to have parallel sessions, but we want to have something for everyone. We want to make sure there's a diversity and a range of discussions going on and topics covered. So what we do is we do try to record all of the presentations, and it takes a while. It takes weeks to get them edited and tidied up and put on the web, but they will be made available. And so something that you missed, make a note to yourself. They will be made available on the UCC Centre for Law and the Environment website. For CPD points, I think I should have made this announcement this morning. Please give us your name, but if you haven't, if you've forgotten to put your name on the list, please just email us, email me, and we'll arrange for your 8 CPD points for this long day. I just want to say a few thank yous, and that is to my colleagues in UCC and the law school, absolutely wonderful colleagues. I'm very, very proud to work here. People have been organising sessions, chairing sessions, helping generally in every possible way. I'm really, really proud to work here, and I'm really proud to welcome another very, very important addition to our team in Professor Noreen O'Mara, who's been here all day with us. Welcome, Noreen, and I hope you enjoy working with this wonderful bunch of people as much as I do. I want to thank our support staff, who we don't have a huge team at all. We have really we have Aoife, we have Alyssa, we have Pat, our tech guru, and who really make an awful lot of things happen. Just really, you know, work very, very hard to make things happen. Pat is running around problem solving. Aoife and Elisa just making sure that everything works. So thank you very much. And on top of that, our student help. We're blessed with really, really great students. And we have 6 of our student help, LLM students and doctoral students, at a really busy time when they have deadlines of all sorts. They're volunteers. They're not paid, and they're here doing, you know, from early in the morning just making sure that everything works. There's lots of small things to do, and running and fetching and, you know, catching people and doing everything else. And they really, you know, we're blessed. I want to thank, of course, the speakers. I mean, the only reason we're all here is to come and hear from, you know, people with deep expert knowledge and experience who give up their time. They're very valuable. These are all busy people who give their time. You know, practitioners, academics, different types of officials. And it's just, it's really, you know, encouraging, it's heartening that people are prepared to do that, to give a couple of days, you know, out of their very busy schedules and busy lives to come and share what they do and explain what they do and I mean, open up what they do to everyone so that people can understand and properly feel that they can participate in environmental governance. And of course, our chairs who again, you know, make sure that everything runs and runs on time and have the unpleasant job of trying to keep everything running on time. I really want to thank our sponsors without whom we really just couldn't do this. And that's more and more the case. Clark Hill Solicitors, Future Energy Ireland, Ronan Daly German, who've looked after us for a very long time. And of course now McCann Fitzgerald, who with a very, very, very generous, a very significant grant, have allowed us to do this one thing of making this a free event. You know, we had over 260 people register for this. We have this number of people still here. I mean, of course, many people come for particular sessions. People have to leave. People have to travel. So it's really achieved what we hoped it would. And that was just to open up this event, to make it, you know, truly available, truly accessible. So people could truly feel that they were participating in, you know, something of the formation of Irish environmental law and governance. So I'm very, very grateful that this has had this result, and I'm just very grateful for Brendan's support and McCann Fitzgerald's support. And then finally, not least by any means, the attendees. If people don't come, this doesn't happen. And I know it's difficult to take time out of busy schedules and balancing all our busy lives and family lives, personal lives, everything. And it's become so expensive to stay overnight in hotels and everything else. And people come. And as long as you'll come, we are delighted to try to organize something worth your time. So thank you very, very, very much. And a round of applause for everyone. And then finally, I hope we can convince most of you to come for a glass of wine and snacks in the senior common room, which is in the quad, just as you come out of the basement on your left, down through the lawns, and it's the middle wing that joins. It's not really truly a quad; it's three-sided, and we're the middle side on the ground floor. Hopefully, you'll hear the noise. Follow people who look. If you haven't been here before, follow people who look as if they know where they're going. Thank you all very, very, very much.
Sorry, before everybody goes, could I call for a round of applause for Owen for organising this year after year?